Hello there, and happy holidays to all of you Knicks fans. I'm Ben Ritholtz here. We're going to go through another Knicks Film School film session, a special holiday edition. After a really exciting win against the San Antonio Spurs, a great kickoff to the Christmas Day slate. Should be no surprise to you all what the focus is going to be. It's going to be on Mikal Bridges, his best game as a Knick, one of the best games I've seen in a long time as a Knick on both ends of the floor. We got exactly what we've been looking for with Mikal Bridges, the combination of Phoenix Mikal and Brooklyn Mikal synergized into one extraordinary player. What a performance. We're going to break it down. Bear with me because I don't have anyone on the ones and twos. Nobody should be producing this because it is Christmas. And so maybe a little bit delayed at times trying to switch between screens, etc. So bear with me. All the film's going to get out there. Let's get started. All right, let's start early on in the game. We got 11:40 to go in the first quarter. Just to get ourselves acclimated to this Mikal performance. Here he comes to trigger this little action, a little chin action as Brunson comes off of the Karl-Anthony Towns screen. And this is designed for Brunson to come off and then come back around and try to get into the paint off of this cat screen. There he goes. Mikal's the passer. Here comes Brunson. Now, I want you to watch Devin Vassell, and we're going to see this as a theme throughout this game. Vassell, who's guarding Bridges, eyes locked on Jalen Brunson. This is the power, of course, of Jalen Brunson and Karl-Anthony Towns. They're going to draw a lot of eyeballs. But Mikal Bridges, the great off-ball mover that he is not going to stay still. He's going to hunt shots. Today, he hunted shots in a way we haven't seen. And when he wasn't as confident in his jumper, he wasn't hunting shots quite like this. So Vassell's eyes are on Brunson, and Mikal is going to rush into the open area. The off-ball movement as Brunson drives. There goes Mikal. Vassell's still looking at Brunson right into his three-point jumper. That's shot hunting, right? You see your defender, eyes on the ball. You find the open space, and you find the shot. Beautiful stuff. Next action. We're just 2 minutes into the game. Now, the Knicks run this set a lot. We're going to see Bridges in the corner here. And Brunson's going to come set a screen for him. And Cat's going to come here to set a screen as well. Now, this can initiate in a lot of different ways. Bridges can come off of both screens, or Bridges can cut through or backdoor, and then Brunson can come around the Cat screen, or Bridges can cut backdoor, Brunson can cut backdoor, and then Cat can kind of just step out for his shot or to get himself into the action. Now, what's key, though, is this guy that is essentially the trigger of this action. He can just kind of run through the motions here and come through. But Mikal Bridges is a fundamentally sound player. He's going to do what coaches will tell any good off-ball mover is to drive your man down into the screen so that he actually runs himself into the screen. And we're going to see Mikal do that. Watch as he walks his man down. See that? That one step, and it's a really good job by Brunson to actually set the screen. Don't just go through the motions of your initial actions, because when you actually set the screen and you actually walk your man down and force contact, see how physical Bridges is being here, you never know what's going to open up. Sohan should probably switch this as Bridges comes off, or at least has to bump Bridges. But again, this is the power of Jalen Brunson. Sohan's assignment in this game is to be in Jalen Brunson's shorts. And so when he sets a screen, Sohan's not thinking about Bridges coming off. And look at that. Sees part. Also, by the way, the power of Karl-Anthony Towns being in this action. If this is any whatever center, Wemby can kind of drop off himself and disturb this action. But it's Karl-Anthony Towns. If Wemby drops into the paint, Cat steps out for a three. So Wemby has to stay close. Sohan's back on Brunson. The power of those two in the action. Bridges did a good job of fundamentally driving his man down, using the screen properly, and bam, you got an open 2 points with a nice reverse finish. Hunting his shot for three, hunting his shot on the cut. You love to see it. We're already going to fast forward to the second half. There was so much action in the second half. I want to show you those two plays in the first half. Let's talk second. Bridges starts this action with a screen. I love when he screens. So he's going to screen for Brunson right off the bat. And that's going to cause some confusion. Again, Sohan and Vassell, two young defenders, weren't on the same page. They both kind of go to Brunson here, not sure whether to switch or not. And Brunson drives right at that. Now, Bridges knows Jalen Brunson, right? He's played with him a lot in college and the pros now. even though Bridges knows he's open here, he also knows Jalen Brunson is not a guy, for all his incredible strengths, his size, his limiting passing vision, he's not going to be able to throw this over the top, not with Victor Wembanyama standing the alien 7'3" in the passing lane. So Bridges doesn't just settle for being open in space here. He's now going to cut through with a good, see, Cat's setting that screen to try to open up Mikal for the kind of to get out here. But Mikal knows Brunson's not making that pass over the top. So he's instead going to cut right into this space. Now, Brunson didn't see it, right? Mikal's got his hands out. Brunson didn't see this cut. Maybe should have made the pass. Again, you got Wemby here. You never know where his arms are going to get on the ball. Plus, Brunson, to his credit, is turnover averse. He doesn't like to make passes into super tight windows because he values the ball a lot. So he doesn't make the pass. A lot of guys, when they don't get that pass after a cut, he was open on the fade, he's open on the cut, would just kind of settle out now and let Brunson take the possession. Maybe Cat gets into a pick and roll with Brunson. No, not today. Not this version of Mikal Bridges. Watch how he keeps following the ball. Look at this. He knows Wemby's on him. He knows Wemby now wants to protect the paint. Keep running around the ball. And now you have Wemby in a closeout situation, unbalanced, and bam, you can attack that outside foot. So Bridges is going to do just that. Bam. Great turn. Gets Wemby behind him. You love to see Mikal getting to the rim. Used his body to shield off the shot blocker. That's a great job by Mikal Bridges. He screened. He faded. He cut. He came back around the ball. Then he drove the closeout, and we'd love to see Mikal Bridges getting to the rim. Hasn't done it enough this year. Attack that closeout and get to the rim. That's a great job of continuing motion, never giving up on a play, and getting yourself an opportunity. Now we're going to start on the defensive end of the ball towards the end of the third quarter. Because, by the way, Mikal was really good on the defensive side of the ball as well. He's following Vassell here, who's a very good shooter. He gets under the first screen, but he's right back in the play, right? Look at that. No separation. Now Vassell's going to use the Sohan screen, and he's trailing. And it's a really good job of trailing. Precious also does a good job here. He's out on the shot. But as you see him rise, Precious kind of slinks off. Now look at where the contest is from Mikal. Using those long arms to get a really good contest up high. And he forces a lot of misses, Mikal, just by his length, because the contest is higher than most guys. Now, he got the stop. A lot of guys will jog up the floor now. Not Mikal Bridges. I want you to see, this is just like a basic thing, but again, he's such a good fundamental player. Miles McBride is running down the right side of the floor, and OG's going to run up the center side of the floor. Mikal understands floor balance. He's going to hook around to the left side of the floor. Just a smart player, because you want the floor to be balanced, because you got Mikal now, you got Bridges, you got Deuce in the right corner. You got Anunoby sealing down low. So Bridges finds his correct spot on the left side. Brunson's going to drive and find Precious. Now, Precious chooses to go to the right side to Deuce. So Mikal's not in the play here. But he never gives up on a play. He's never just a bystander. Again, as Deuce breaks down Castle off the dribble and makes a nice move right there. Vassell, again, we're seeing a tendency here. Look where his eyes are. Vassell's watching the ball. Mikal, when he sees that, cuts into space. Now, even when Deuce makes a nice little move here into his pull-up, so Bridges isn't going to get this ball on the cut. But what it does, that cut puts him in position to use his length to get himself on the offensive glass. And what do you know? He finds the ball and one. We haven't seen a lot of that kind of thing from Mikal, offensive boards, getting his hands dirty. And that all is created through his constant motion. I cut when my man looks at the ball. And when I cut and my man looks at the ball, all of a sudden I'm in offensive rebounding position. So we've seen him hunt for a three. We've seen him attack a closeout. We've seen him cut on an initial action for a layup. We've seen him get a stop on the defensive end and never give up on the play. Going in for the cut, finds himself an offensive rebound and one. Showing it all. Again, we're going to start on the defensive end. Spurs are going to run a little pistol get. So you see Bridges here is on CP. Castle's going to give it to CP and then come around and get the ball back. Tough play for a defense to defend, but Bridges sees it early and tries to get that switch. But because Castle had such a head of steam, he's going to beat Bridges around the corner. But man, this is where, look at that, Mikal Bridges' left arm. Watch the left arm. SWAT. The length is so crazy, able to cause a turnover even after you get beat. Never gave up on the play. Now, again, a lot of guys, they get a block like that, they jog up the floor, they're satisfied with themselves. Mikal Bridges, man, not tonight, not in this game. Again, you're going to see the floor balance issue. McBride's running up the right side, and Hart's going to run up the center. So Mikal knows my job is to get to the left side of the floor. Now, this time, though, he's hunting for a shot, not just a floor balance. Look at that. Look at that effort. Look at the speed at which he's going to come around this. He's hunting for this three ball. And again, Mikal, when he was not confident in his shot, I don't think he's hunting like this. But now that he's feeling himself, I'm going to come around my point guard at full speed, hunting for a three off the handoff. Bang. So he gets a defensive stop, and immediately he's thinking, where am I going to create the best offense now? I'm running up the floor. Let me balance the floor, but let me also hunt for that jump shot. Pretty cool to see the confidence growing in Mikal. Every game now. I mean, it's consistently now been performance after performance. Now, you're feeling yourself, and it's been all through your own activation. It's been through your cutting. It's been through your hunting shots, defensive stops. You know what's really nice is when the Knicks run a little bit something for Mikal Bridges. They don't do it often, but they're going to do it here. So this is what I call the Knicks empty set. They do this. They did it a lot the last couple of years, but this used to be Evan Fournier or Quentin Grimes. And now they're running it for Mikal Bridges, who, by the way, hasn't made a bunch of above the break threes this year, but you see the confidence that he's now gained because this is a play that's basically run for an above the break three. It starts with an empty side pick and roll between Cat and Brunson, and that's important because the gravity that these two create, the eyeballs that they draw, and as we watch this, I want you to watch the defense, right? Everybody's eyes, everybody, on Brunson, on Brunson, on Brunson and Cat, on Brunson and Cat. Nobody is looking at this bunch formation. It's kind of a funny looking thing on the right wing. What you're going to see, because of all that space that's here, right? Nobody's really near these guys. Hart's going to cut through, and McBride is going to look to pin in, almost like an offensive lineman, anyone trying to get out to Bridges. And Bridges is just going to settle right into a shot. So watch as they go. There goes Hart. There goes McBride. You see that motion he just made? He's telling Brunson, hey, I got this. Look at that arm. He's saying, I got this. Whoever's coming out for Mikal, I got him. That's like a blocker, right? As we run it, CP's the guy that has to get out. McBride does his job, man. There's your blocker. That's your running back in the backfield. And now Mikal, look at that. Nobody near him. Because of the power of that pick and roll out here, all eyes, all defenders shifted towards this side of the floor. You run one man through, you have one blocker, and now Mikal Bridges wide open on that wing. Above the break three issues, not anymore. Bang. Cool to see the Knicks run that for him. That's an old one. Oldie but a goodie. Again, now Mikal's the trigger man here. We got no Brunson on the floor. We do have Cat on the floor. Now, this is a lot of motion again. One of these possessions where Mikal just does 100 different things. So he started with the trigger. He's going to cut all the way through and then fade back out as Hart is going to try to create something for him in the corner. So Mikal cuts through. And now when the ball gets reversed, this is what Josh Hart does so well, is he either cuts through to try to create the open space for Mikal or he pin-ins. Here, I think he's just going to cut through. Oh, yeah, a little bit of both. And here, Cat could have just reversed the ball to Mikal to get him going into a pick and roll, but that's a classic Knicks set. But Towns, as he often is looking for the back door, and he does see McBride open for a second, which distracts him now. He doesn't make the pass, which is fine because we've seen Cat throw some poor ones. Sometimes he's if Brunson's too turnover reverse, Cat is sometimes too careless, right? He tries to make every pass to try to fit him into tight windows. This one, maybe he could have made, but he holds on to it. So now Mikal was kind of expecting this, could have pivoted right into that DHO, but now you're kind of in you kind of ruin the rhythm there with that kind of pump fake towards the cutter. But Mikal never gives up on the play. He's going to continue to move and try to create. So he doesn't get the DHO, but hey, let's go screen for our big. I freaking love that. The Knicks don't do enough of screening for Cat. Brunson should screen for Cat more, but Mikal just kind of, he was improvising. He's improvising as he comes around. All right, I'll screen for him if I didn't get the ball. And now look what you create. It's a switch. All of a sudden, you created a little bit of a disadvantage for the Spurs defense. You got Champagnie on the big, and you got Wemby on Mikal. And that's going to matter because as we roll the tape, as Towns now posts the small, that draws a lot of eyes because it's a mismatch. Vassell, again, is caught ball watching. That's a theme in this tape, right? Vassell ball watching. So OG's going to cut backdoor. Nice pass by Towns, but the defense is super collapsed. But look at this. You also created the Mikal-Wemby switch, and we know that Wemby is going to want to help into the paint when the ball's in there. And Mikal is out here all alone. OG's kind of in a tough spot here underneath with a lot of bodies. And he's not going to be able to see this pass out to Mikal. And again, Mikal understanding angles. This is not going to happen. So I need to get into the passer's line of sight. Hunting shots today. I'm sprinting to the corner. OG tries to find him, but Hart gets in the way. Right? That pass is intended for Mikal, but Hart does a good job of just quickly dropping it off, and CP's too late. So again, think about what he did here. Mikal started here, cut through, came out, screen for Cat. Now he's out here, and then he runs back to the corner when he finally gets his shot. Constant movement. By the way, Mikal Bridges leads the NBA in miles run per game. He runs nearly 3 miles per game. Now, that's partially because he plays the most minutes in the NBA, but it's also he is just in constant motion on both ends of the floor. And that creates opportunities where there were none. And that's hunting for your shot. It's just beautiful basketball from Mikal Bridges, filling all those gaps. And so now we've talked a lot about Mikal as the Phoenix Mikal, filling gaps, cutting, spacing, defensively being who he's supposed to be. That's Phoenix Mikal. The beauty of this game is, in addition to all that amazing stuff, we tapped into Brooklyn Mikal late in this game because both Cat and Brunson are on the bench with 4:30 left in the game in a 1-point game. Who are you going to run your offense through with a lineup of McBride, Hart, Precious, Bridges, OG? And the answer is Brooklyn Mikal is going to make an appearance. We're going to run it through him. So they're going to run a little pin down action here. And you're going to see the same kind of trigger. So OG is going to go backdoor, right? Theoretically, just like maybe the first clip that we ran. OG could be the one to come off. But OG, when he goes backdoor, triggers McBride to come off. So here comes, Bridges to come off. So here comes Bridges. Gets the pass, and you see it was a really good screen by Precious. A nice little down screen that created a lot of separation here. So Bridges can start to access the paint. The problem, of course, is this alien is in the way. So Mikal Bridges isn't going to attack the alien. He's just going to make a simple pocket pass to Precious. Now, a lot of guys, after they make that little pocket pass to Precious, would probably space, or they'd set a screen for Hart to come around into the action. No. Not Mikal, not in this game. He never stops. So he made the first pocket pass, and now he's going to come back around for a second action. Here he comes. Great job by Precious to pivot into that second action screen again. Now you've got both defenders on the move. You've done two different actions. You see how the weak side is all occupied from the movement from Hart and Deuce. They're not really in help position. And now that you ran that second action and Wemby's a little bit off balance, and now the catch by Precious is much closer to the rim, look what you create, right? First dime I've shown from Mikal in this game, but I thought it was created by the same stuff we've been talking about. It's constant motion. He's not a guy that's going to get a high pick and roll and just create corner threes and get all the way to the rim. He's not Ja Morant. Like, he needs to do more to create a good look, especially against a guy like Wemby. So I run one action, and then I immediately pivot into a second one to scramble the defense a little bit more, get the big man a little more unbalanced. My second pocket pass is going to create the layup. Awesome, awesome stuff. Again, who are we going to run stuff through with this lineup? 4 minutes to go. San Antonio still up a point. You know what? We're just going to go high screen and roll with Mikal Bridges and Precious Achiuwa. Not how the Knicks thought this season was going to go down the stretch. Games have a funny way of creating things you never thought were going to happen. So we're having Mikal Bridges running our offense down the stretch of a Christmas Day game. The thing with Mikal Bridges and pick and roll is, and you saw this in Brooklyn as well, and it's why there's a limitation to how good an offense can be if Mikal Bridges is the one really initiating all actions, because he's not a great downhill threat. And because he doesn't put pressure on the rim, he doesn't create open threes for guys. However, the talent to be able to create good mid-range shots in a pinch when you don't have your best players on the floor is extremely valuable. This is where Brooklyn Bridges comes into play, right? And we're going to see how he does it. The good screen by Precious to get Champagnie on Bridges' back. And that's important that he's on his back, because as we roll the tape, you're going to see Champagnie try to fight his way back in front. And Bridges knows that when he tries to fight back in front, he's not balanced. He's got leverage. So as he tries to fight back in front, Bridges is just going to stop. And that's really good flexibility. It's just like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander type of flexibility. See how he's able to stop with his leg almost parallel to the ground? That's great balance, flexibility. Champagnie's going to have a hard time as he's trying to fight back in front. It's going to be hard for him to stay with the step back, as Bridges is the one with leverage. So Champagnie takes one more step, and that super high, beautiful release that Mikal has, there's not going to be a ton of guys who can really contest that. And when he's in a rhythm like that, bang, bang. High pick and roll, create a good mid-range look. Now Brunson is back in the game. Knicks up 1, 2 minutes to go. But you know what? We're still running things for Mikal Bridges because he is on one. So they're going to run a little action here to get Mikal coming off of a down screen to initiate the action. Here it comes. Catch. Brunson clears. And it's going to be a Mikal Precious pick and roll down the stretch of the Christmas game. Wild, right? Now this is a good job by Mikal. What I want you to watch here is the little movement here to his left to make Sochan think that he's going to reject the screen. Sochan's going to think for a moment that he's rejecting the screen. See that little move by it to the left, which made Sochan back up an inch. And that back up of an inch is how you set up a screen, because you made Sochan back up, and now Precious is in the perfect screening position so that Bridges can actually create an advantage going downhill. It's a great job. That's the stuff you learn when you run a ton of pick and roll with Brooklyn, right? It's like the tricks of the trade. How do I make sure that my guy gets screened? I fake a reject, force him down just a couple inches so that the screen can now really be set. And you see how good that screen is. Mikal actually gets ahead of steam with nobody on him. Wemby has to be the guy now to basically pick him up as he goes. And again, this is the art of the mid-range that Mikal now has. Wemby, 7'3" guy, trying to keep up with him going downhill straight line. The leverage is Mikal's. So it's a quick stop. You see Wemby slide out of the picture. And the ability here, you see where he's facing as he gathers? He's facing the opposite direction. But the ability now with that turn, the way he can square at least his shoulders, even as his legs are still facing out. And again, that super high release as Sochan tries to get back in the picture, but boy, it is too late. The way Mikal's feeling, he's not even touching the rim. 3-point lead. All right, last clip. They still have that 3-point lead. Again, they're running that same action, even with Brunson in the game. Mikal's going to come off that down screen and try to create with Precious Achiuwa as the screener. This time, CP forces him way out, right? So this is not ideal. He's starting them almost by half court. Brunson clears. Now this time, it's a good swing through by Mikal and a good job by Precious to rescreen there, right? Last time we saw Mikal get to his right hand. CP, his former teammates, like, you're not getting to your right hand. I'm forcing you away. But Precious reads that and gets to CP's left. So at least we're still going to get a screen here. There it is. So CP does get held up by the screen. And now Mikal's still going to get back to that right hand, right? So he's going to cross back over as CP's retreating, trying to get back in the picture. There's that crossover. And now I love this from Precious Achiuwa. By the way, again, the power of Jalen Brunson is there's no dig, right? Castle's not leaving Bridges. Not leaving Brunson to dig in on Bridges, which helps, right? So that's just important to note. Look at that play by Precious Achiuwa, right? That's what they call a Gortat. It's a rescreen. Now, usually a Gortat is done deeper into the paint, but because of where Mikal is here, and it's just watch him stick out his butt. Boop. Gets a piece of CP to take away his balance enough so that when Mikal, again, look at the footwork, he's facing several feet right of the rim here as he gathers, but the ability to rise and readjust as he gathers. CP now was eliminated by that rescreen. CP's also 6 feet tall. And just like you gotta appreciate the height of that release. This is a 6'7" dude with a really with a really long wingspan and a high release. I mean, he's almost even with the rim here. And CP's not even in the picture. This is a practice shot. Get back to that right hand, get right into your mid-range game. Bang. So we saw Phoenix Mikal fill in the gaps, but hunting his shot, both for threes, for cuts, offensive rebounds. The movement, constantly moving, leading the NBA in miles run per game. The guy doesn't stop defensively or offensively. The crazy part about this game, though, was integrating Brooklyn Bridges into the picture. As Cat and Brunson sit, Bridges steps into the limelight as the lead ball handler of a unit, and you see what he can get to and the little tricks he's learned about how to open himself up for those mid-range jumpers. The high release is so valuable in those situations because they're hard to contest, man. And he understands how to use the screen. He understands how to find his balance. Beautiful performance by Mikal Bridges. Hope we see a lot more of it going forward. Thank you all so much for tuning in. This was another Knicks Film School film session. I am Ben Ritholtz. My partner DJ Zulo will have another one coming next week. Please like and subscribe, follow, do all the things that you can to support our work. We love doing it for you. Have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful holiday and a happy new year. Peace.